Shalom Yasharala. First and foremost, I want to say all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem, Racha HaKodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of the house of David. Salutations to you brothers throughout the four corners of the earth, teaching the truth in righteousness and sincerity to you Israelite foreigners. Come back home to the truth. To those that passed on, serving the Lord, the dead in Yahweh Shai shall arise first. To you sisters who believe, keep encouraging and supporting your brethren that are out here pushing this word. And always commemorate the sister who washed Yahweh Shai feet when you read the scriptures. I wanted to talk to y'all about something kind of a personal nature, but something that I believe a lot of y'all are probably going through just as much as I am, which is how to deal with people, right? And how to deal with people doesn't just mean how to deal with people in the truth or outside the truth. It's both. Because just like there's a phrase, people be peopling. I'm going through something right now. And it's not like going through something like it's a long process. It's just something that's actually, no, it's part of a bigger process. It's part of a bigger process, and it really bothers the shit out of me. And it's basically somebody who is involved both in my professional and my personal life. So it's a supposed friend. And I mean supposedly. Very supposed, because they're not. And it's just a lot of shit that I got to deal with, that sometimes it gets to the point where, how could a human being be this evil? And it's crazy. It's a human being that about 6 years ago, maybe 7, I looked at as a great fucking person. And I think things happen in that person's life, because I don't believe that they were always like that. I've always believed that maybe they had it in them, pause. But they themselves, I don't think were always that evil a human being. But it's just, when you're in this truth, you always try to do the right thing. And I had the pleasure, the honor, the privilege of having 2 parents, because believe it or not, parenting matters if children are good. Parenting matters. Having both parents does matter. Doesn't make me a better person automatically, because that if you have bad parents, or your parents are bad people. And I think part of it too is sometimes I do question if my parents are good people, but they definitely taught me the right things. Because when you look at it, where do bad people come from? Bad people are all over the world. And one thing that I had this brother Gabar Rakah years ago, love that brother to death. He got me to see people in a different light. Maybe not even intentionally. I started seeing people as decent-hearted creatures that simply are led astray. And then when you think about it, all these people are not led astray. Some people, when a person is given to pleasures, then they start doing fucked up shit. They're selfish, especially a selfish person. See, it's a difference between me getting what I want and a selfish person getting what they want. Me, when I get what I want, I'm enthused. I'm happy. I'm thankful. I'm grateful. I'm humble. When a bad person gets what they want, it's what they think they're supposed to get anyway. They feel entitled. So I'm in a world full of bad people that feel that they're supposed to get things from you, that they're somehow entitled to not only what they supposed to get for themselves, but what you get. You know, and they use you despitefully to do so. And I'm not gonna lie to you, man. I go through different levels of grief because of it all the time. Like those of you that follow me on social media, it's always been said that I'm so negative. And if you ask me, I'm not negative at all. I'm realistic. People are evil. People are fucked up. And it's not just people. People have been taught to become selfish. You know the scripture that says, you know, men shall be lovers of themselves. I've come to realize the scripture on a face value implies you're not supposed to love yourself, because otherwise you're part of that, and that's evil. But it's not that. Because Yahushua stressed the necessity for brotherhood. Men shouldn't be lovers of themselves above the brotherhood. You should want the brotherhood to succeed, not just, and that's one thing I don't say, not one person, the brotherhood, right? Because if you take loving the brotherhood as loving just one brother, then you will be respect the person, and you won't correct that brother, you won't check that brother, you won't, you know, you just push him for success. No, you have to push the whole brotherhood, which means also when you have kinks in the armor, when you have lack of brotherhood, when you have respect the person and bad things, you have to realize that those things, those qualities are enemies of the overall good of the brotherhood. You know, that's the way I describe Republicans and Democrats all the time. Democrats are very me first. If you look at their policies, all of their policies are about the government serving the people. And that's not the way the government works. Now, you use that interchangeably with the truth. That's like a class of Israelites saying, hey, the law is supposed to serve us. And no, you're supposed to follow the law to serve the Most High. So Democrats, to me, is like a downward spiral of goods, services, and just life, right? Everything's supposed to serve the people. And the problem is, people vary like fucking animals vary. You have all different types of people with all different, you have people that are sodomites and all that shit. So that's where you get the gay agenda, you know? Where Republicans, even though I don't agree with the textbook Republicans, I would say Republicans are more, the people have to serve the republic in order for us to have societal harmony. So what that means is that, you know, listen, everybody does their job. Everybody has to contribute, you know what I'm saying, to the overall greater good of the people, right? So that's what you're supposed to be like as an Israelite. You're supposed to serve your brotherhood, not you, you know? And I think that I don't want to frame a picture like I'm the good guy, but I'm trying to be the good guy. And in being the good guy, I'm realizing the evil in a lot of people, not because they're not doing what I'm doing, but because they're not doing shit. They're not doing nothing to make life better for nobody. Or this is what people do, especially selfish people. They pretend like they got your best interests at heart, but in reality, their actions prove otherwise. Their actions prove that they're self-serving and evil. And that's the type of that's the problem with peopling, as that phrase says. People are being people. You know, people are being selfish. You know, people aren't looking for the greater good of all. You know, like, say, a company, right? I used to work for a company that had so many disgruntled employees called Optimum. And what's funny is the employees came into work miserable and I'm telling you, them employees being miserable made me miserable, because then they escalated stupid calls to me. Me being miserable and my department made our supervisors miserable. On to the managers on higher up. Because unfortunately you can't let the so-called I don't want to say bottom class, but the rank and file people, you have to keep them happy. But here was the problem. That was the best job I ever had at first. But what wound up happening was changes within the company. So now all the complainers, now you got even more reason to complain. When Altice bought Cablevision, when Jim Dolan sold Cablevision went to shit. So it made me realize all those people that were making my life miserable, now they are even more miserable and made me even more miserable. Because just like the scripture says, when the righteous bear rule, the people rejoice. When the wicked are ruling, the people mourn. There's nothing but reasons to mourn now. Me, I try to stay as upbeat as I can because I know there's a dark place in my spirit where I'm not my best self. I really go through a wide range from fairly happy. I never get super happy, right? I never get the equivalent of happy as when I get miserable. When I get miserable, I could be at a 10 in misery, but I'm never at a 10 in happiness. So I try to be as close to the 10 in happiness as I can. So that's why a lot of times, a lot of brothers outside in that don't know me look at my actions out in the world on social media, whatever, and think something that's not true. But anyway, this video is not about that. But what it is about is, when you deal with people, you have to understand that most people are selfish. You have to understand that most people are, even the ones that are in this truth, most of them are not all the way in from the soul. So when they're not all the way in from the soul, them too, they pretty much just like people in the world. Sad to say. But no brother in the truth or no Israelite is the reason for this video. Actually, it's something that I'm going through personal, like I said. But I did have to point that out, that you got this in the truth too. Selfishness, evil, manipulative people, people that want to use people to do their bidding, basically. And listen, the resolution isn't for you to go and hurt them or do anything to them. The best way you can do good is for you to be the example of the good. And you might not change. You're not going to change everybody. You're hardly going to change anybody. But when you do change, the Lord sees that, okay, this man is a kind brother. And kind, not just in a sense of his doing kind things for people, but doing the work. Because this work is the ultimate kindness. The ultimate kindness you can show, quote unquote, humanity, or really the hopeful elect, is doing the work. But that's it, man. I hope I didn't speak over anybody's head. I hope brothers understand, where I'm coming from with this video, and I'm gonna say shalom.